Welcome to my countryside-inspired collection, exploring the beauty of natural living, from the quiet moments in nature, through to the rhythms of rural life. In this episode we delve into a beginner's guide to foraging. Foraging begins with something very simple, noticing. Noticing the plants beneath your feet, the shapes of leaves, the scent of the air, and the way the seasons shift the countryside from one color to another. You don't need special equipment or expert knowledge to begin. You just need curiosity, patience, and a willingness to walk a little slower than usual. This beginner's guide is here to help you take those first steps with confidence, so you can enjoy the quiet pleasure of gathering food from the land in a safe and respectful way. The first thing to understand is that foraging is not about taking as much as you can, it's about connection. It's about learning the rhythm of the land and gathering only what you need, leaving plenty for wildlife and for the plant to grow again. When you approach foraging with respect, the countryside opens itself to you, in a different way. You begin to see patterns, habits, and small details that most people walk straight past. Before you start picking anything, it's important to learn a few basic principles. The most important rule is this: only pick what you can identify with absolute certainty. If you're not sure, leave it. Even experienced foragers walk away from plants they can't confidently name. There's no rush, and there's no pressure. Foraging is a slow craft, and learning is part of the joy. A good way to begin is by getting to know a handful of very safe, very common plants. Nettles, for example, are one of the easiest to recognize. Their serrated leaves and stinging hairs make them unmistakable, and once cooked, they lose their sting completely. They're full of nutrients and grow in abundance in spring and early summer. Wild garlic is another beginner-friendly plant. Its broad green leaves, white flowers, and gentle garlicky scent make it easy to identify, especially in woodland areas. Dandelions, too, are especially easy to identify when in flower, and every part of the plant can be used, including the roots. And blackberries, of course, are a classic, dark, glossy, and familiar to almost everyone. Starting with plants like these builds your confidence and helps you learn without risk. When you go out foraging, take a small basket or cloth bag, a pair of gloves, and maybe a pair of scissors or secateurs. You don't need much more than that. Gloves are especially useful for nettles and brambles, and scissors help you take only what you need without damaging the plant. A simple guidebook or an app is important, and can be helpful for identification, but nothing replaces spending time outdoors and getting to know the plants in person. As a beginner, it's also important to understand where you can and cannot forage. Public footpaths, common land, and many woodland areas are fine for gathering small amounts for personal use. But avoid private land unless you have permission, and never pick from nature reserves or protected areas. These places are home to rare plants and delicate ecosystems that need to be left undisturbed, and foraging is about working with nature, not against it. Another key part of foraging is learning to observe the environment. Plants growing beside busy roads, industrial areas, or places where dogs are walked heavily, are best avoided because of contamination or a buildup of toxins. Look for clean, quiet spots, woodland edges, meadows, hedgerows, and riverbanks. The healthier the environment, the healthier the plants will be. As you begin to explore, you'll notice how the seasons shape what's available. In spring, the countryside is full of fresh, tender greens, nettles, wild garlic, cleavers, and young dandelion leaves. These plants are vibrant and full of life after winter's rest. In summer, the hedgerows become generous with flowers and herbs. Elderflowers, meadowsweet, mint, and sorrel all appear, offering bright flavors and gentle scents. Late summer and early autumn bring berries, nuts, and seeds, blackberries, rose hips, hawthorn berries, and hazelnuts. And even in winter, there are small treasures to be found, like pine needles for tea or the last of the rose hips sweetened by frost. Learning these seasonal rhythms is one of the most rewarding parts of foraging. You begin to understand the countryside not as a static place, but as a living, changing world that offers different gifts throughout the year. And as you learn, you'll find that your walks become richer. You'll start to recognize familiar plants, notice new ones, and feel more connected to the land beneath your feet. Safety is always important, but it doesn't need to feel intimidating. A simple rule is to learn one new plant at a time. Spend a week or two getting to know it, where it grows, how it looks at different stages, what it smells like, how it feels. When you know it well, you can add another. This slow, steady approach builds real confidence and helps you avoid mistakes. And remember, foraging isn't just about food. It's about presence, and about stepping outside, breathing deeply, and letting the countryside show you its quiet details. It's about gathering a few leaves or berries, and feeling grateful for them, and about learning to see the land with new eyes. As a beginner, you don't need to know everything. You just need to begin. Take a walk, notice what grows around you. Learn one plant, taste the seasons, and let foraging become a gentle, grounding part of your life. A way to reconnect with nature, with the countryside, and with the simple pleasure of gathering what the earth offers freely. Thank you for joining me today, and I hope you gained some inspiration from our look into natural living. I'd really appreciate it if you could like and subscribe. Thank you.